with the millions.
It's that world heavyweight flow. Championship belt wrapped around my waist, yo. I got that Ric Flair figure flow. Slam you on the pavement, that's why they call me street pro. Create heat on beat flow. Like Jordan after the second time he three-peated, folks. Get ready, set, let's go. Fight toe to toe, release the flow created by this mic pro. Lights, camera, get low. Action packed, back to back. In fact, this monster will grow. Y'all better let him know. Man with the master plan, and you have no need to know. You came prepared, now get ready for the show.
Yo, 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 what up, what up, what up, friends? How are we doing today? You know who it is. Omar, the Professor Fonseca, here with another installment of Mind of the Professor. Yes, you get an in-depth look into not only my mind, but the way that I like to see things through the world, my lens, seeing things from both sides of the perspective. And today, that is going to entail a lot because one of our subjects will be the election. And no, I'm not looking to sway anyone's vote. And neither do I think there should be any undecided voters at this point. If you are, well, I don't know what to tell you. But what I do come to do is give you the facts from both sides of the aisle for you to take that for which you will. That will be coming up at the end, so make sure you look forward to that. And you already know, if you're subscribed to Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS on YouTube or Instagram, you will see these videos. Or if you follow me on Facebook, shout out if you're in the Bottom Line Sports group watching us there. If not, make sure you join the Bottom Line Sports Facebook group for all the good sports content. We will be on tomorrow night before all the election coverage at 8 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you look out for that as well. Look out for Clubber D, the Combat G, and myself in our next Combat Sports special. But for now, this is the Mind of the Professor. That's what you tuned in for. You see the topics on the bottom bar. First, we're going to dive into a little bit of MLB. Rest in peace to Pete Rose. We're going to talk Pete Rose and his candidacy for the Hall of Fame. We will also talk Deshaun Watson, the now injured. Prayers up for Deshaun Watson's injury in his NFL future and what the Browns can do in this situation. We're going to dive into all of it. And then lastly, we are going to talk about the election. And again, I'm not coming here to sway any votes or give you even my opinion. I am just here to give you the facts as always. So again, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed at Ball and Buzz. Shout out to everyone who is tuned in. I see people are piling in. So thank you for coming in. We are on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook again. So first of all, let's start off. I know recently we had a death, right, with the MLB. Pete Rose, the hit king from baseball, actually recently passed away at age 83. He was a 17-time All-Star. He was the league's all-time hitter with 4,256 hits over a 24-season career. But he was banned for gambling. He bet on his own team while he was the manager of the Cincinnati Reds. He bet on his own team, which is illegal in pretty much every sport, but especially Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball then, the Hall of Fame, which is its own separate entity, but, you know, they work hand in hand, made it ineligible for anyone on the MLB's banned list to be inducted to the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose was then never inducted to the Hall of Fame. Well, when you have the person who has the most hits ever in your league not inducted to the Hall of Fame, that brings a little bit of a side eye. You know what I mean? Little side eye action to what you're actually doing. So let's dive in a little further into this and see if Pete Rose actually deserves or deserves not to be in the Hall of Fame. And then after that, we will jump into Deshaun Watson's future and how we are taking the facts of both sides of his not only sexual assault cases, but what his football future will be. So again, thank you all for being tuned in. Baseball's Hall of Fame's mission statement includes this. I quote, "To preserve the sport's history, honor excellence within the game, and make a connection between generations of people who enjoy baseball." Well, we know that the steroid era, for instance, was one of the most fun eras to watch in baseball. Obviously tainted with the use of performance-enhancing drugs, the likes of the godfather of steroids, my favorite baseball player of all time, Jose Canseco. So I know this subject very intimately. Shout out, Jose. And then also, what about Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens? These are two of the greatest players in MLB baseball history, also not in the Hall of Fame due to their connection to steroids. So different ways you can be excluded from the Hall of Fame. Now let's talk about the Hall itself. Since posting an all-time high revenue of $24 million back in 2017, the most recent available statement 2 years later in 2019 saw their revenue fall almost by half to $14 billion. Some say that decline can be attributed to the nonprofit's refusal to accept some of the bigger yet tainted names and stars of the game. And surely Pete Rose would agree. Pete Rose, before he died, all he wanted nothing more to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The stats would tell you that he deserved to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. But because of the serious allegations tied to his gambling when he was active, he was, again, banned from that. So this has been a long-running saga since it first happened August 24th, 1989. Since then, Pete Rose has while he was alive, applied multiple times to be reinstated and be let in the Hall of Fame. Every commissioner, including now Commissioner Rob Manfred, denied his application. And so a lot of people after his death are now calling for him to be inducted, saying it was a lifetime ban, and lifetime indicates that you would only be banned for the time that you're alive and not posthumously. Excuse me. Jeez. So how do we need to look at this? Well, we need to look at this, as you know, this is why you come here, for the facts. You come here for the research nuance. You come here for both sides. So thinking about this, shout out Canteen, my brother. I appreciate you, Bottom Line Sports. So looking at this from both sides, look at this from the MLB side. One MLB rule is that if athletes are caught betting on games in which the bettor has a so-called duty to perform, meaning they're actually involved in the game, manager, player, team, bat boy, team washman, the guy that washes the clothes, things like that. Recently, there was an MLB player, Rafael Marcano from the San Francisco Giants, who got banned for placing 387 bets totaling over $150,000, betting on games involving his own team. This is exactly what Pete Rose had done as well. Now, cheating in baseball goes back a long time, as we know, all the way back to the 1919 Black Sox scandals, where they were illegally fixing games. They were throwing games and betting on them and making money. Back in the day, it was the mafia, right? They come out, bow, take out your kneecaps. You know what I mean? Take out your kneecaps real quick, the mafia would, if you ain't giving them money. So this has been a rule for a long time, and there is not really a difference between player, coach. You're not allowed to do it at all. And even though game fixing wasn't even illegal back in 1919, it was obviously still frowned upon, as they were banned from, the sport. All the players were banned from the sport, including Shoeless Joe Jackson, someone a well-known name. But MLB and gambling has been intertwined for a long time as well. Even when, I didn't know this until I was actually researching this case this debate. Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle were both shortly banned and then later reinstated from baseball for taking PR jobs with casinos. That blew my mind. But, they were just trying to be like, kind of like OJ was for Hertz, just a pitch man, things like that. A little PR, public relations job with them, but that was a no-no. And I did not know that those two of the greatest of all time were even banned for that little bit. But you've got to look at it like that, because nowadays, look at it. They're intertwined everywhere. FanDuel, DraftKings, ESPN Bet, Caesars, whatever you want, right? These leagues and these gambling entities are intertwined because everybody's making money hand over fist off of the gambling that is being done. So do we need to take a separate, different look at it now that the circumstances have changed? Some would tell you so. I would be one of those people that think things need to be at least re-examined. But when it comes to Pete Rose, it gets a lot deeper than that. Pete Rose is a lot more difficult of a subject to just say, hey, let's let him in, even though he's passed away, because of things that happened when he was still alive. The first and most minor, in my eyes, is that he lied about it. For the first 14 years after he was banned, for the first 14 years, he denied it. He said it didn't happen. He said he didn't do it. And again, in my eyes, the least of the things that he did incorrectly, but still really big to try to lie about it. When you're trying to get back into the Hall of Fame and applying for it, you should have at least admitted it by then. But there's also something else. Back in 2017, Pete Rose was charged with sexual misconduct. Back then, he had engaged in a relationship in 1973, a sexual relationship with a woman identified as Jane Doe because she was underage. She was 14 and or 15. Now, aside from the fact that that's freaking disgusting just to begin with, when you're a grown-ass man and you're a famous baseball player, man, you just can't go get a regular woman. Like, come on, man. Anyways, he admitted to having sex with her, but he said he thought she was 16, Ohio's age of consent. Again, besides the fact it's disgusting, this happened. And he tried to deny having sex with her outside of Ohio, as if that made it any better. Anyways, that's where things start to get a little dicey, as you see. Now, we may be looking at other sides of his character and saying, well, does he belong in the Hall of Fame, where other standards of excellence need to be also debated? I know it is a Hall of Fame. I know it is where you put people for your statistics, but let's be honest, a lot of time, most of the time, character is also taken into account, as it is within the presidential election, which, again, stay tuned. We're going to give you all the facts on the election here in a couple minutes. But just like in the election, right? There is no difference as to how you have to look at things. You have to take everything with a conscious eye, examining exactly what's in front of you. And a lot of times there's skeletons in the closet that are hidden that you have to dig up in order to say, okay, well, is this really okay? So anyways, moving on. Let's move forward to August 7th of 2022. Statute of limitations had expired. Pete Rose is at a Phillies event, Philadelphia Phillies, outside of about 5 years after they had already had to cancel plans to honor him after these allegations came out. The Philadelphia Inquirer's Alex Coffey, who is a woman, asked him about these allegations. He answered with, no, I'm not here to talk, quote, no, I'm not here to talk about that, ... because it was a longer quote. It was 55 years ago, comma, babe. Good Lord help me. Lord help me. Sir, if there's a woman asking you about sexual misconduct charges or allegations against you at an event where they're trying to honor you while you are also trying to get put into the Hall of Fame and applying multiple times, maybe you want to leave out the babe. Okay. Also, maybe you don't want to say it's 55 years ago and dismiss it like it's nothing. Just my opinion, but those two things probably did not help his case. Then his autobiography, finally coming out and saying that he did it. But then filing false income returns in 1990. Move on to 2002. We had a secret meeting with Commissioner Bud Selig in a Milwaukee hotel to try to get put back in the Hall of Fame. But then not even about a week later, I believe it was, he followed with an appearance at a Las Vegas sports book. My man, talk about tripping over your own feet. You know what I mean? Like, if you're trying to get in, why are you going to go at a sports book? It couldn't have been anywhere else. A sports book. When you're trying to get in for being banned from gambling. See, so there's many other sides to this story and many bad looks that he had that are also contributing to him not being admitted to the Hall of Fame. So facts are, can he get in the future? A lot of baseball writers think he should get in now. The only way now that he can get in would either be the Classic Era Committee, which are 16 living Hall of Famers, executive historians, writers, that would have to elect him. By the way, they have an election. Actually, they just announced the candidates today for this year. Luis Tiant, which is one of my favorite players, he was included. Dave Parker, Tommy John, so the person they named the surgery after, he's getting inducted. Dick Allen and Steve Garvey of the Dodgers, may he rest in peace. So they're all going to be elected. Could that happen in the future? Right now, I would say no, because the same voters that have been keeping him out are these same voters that are still intertwined. But that is the older generation. As the newer, younger generation comes in, and the younger voters who may even be more likely to let the steroid era players in, we may see these bigger names that were really, really good start to get in. Because again, these players are Hall of Famers. Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, both Hall of Famers before they even started taking steroids. So does that mean they deserve to be in? Again, it depends on how you feel about the amount of grievance that is caused by whatever the issue is that they did, betting versus steroids and what have you. So again, I'm just here to give the facts and present both sides so you can make your own decision. But in my eyes, he is not going to get elected right now, or inducted right now to the Hall of Fame. He could down the line, as I mentioned, when the viewers get in, and probably will eventually, once the older viewers die out and the younger viewers come in. That sounded bad. I didn't want to use that word, but for lack of a better word. And Manfred has kept passing on the buck to the Hall of Fame, so he's not going to do anything. And he said Rose hasn't proven enough anyways to deserve that. So again, is he going to get in? Not now, possibly later. If it were me, would I let him in? I believe if you've given him a lifetime ban and he dies, I believe after that, like, come on, man. Let bygones be bygones. He is the best hitter of all time. So if it were me personally, I have changed my stance. I used to say no, I wouldn't let him in. But now that he's passed away, I do agree, and I think he should be let in. But then you open up a little waterway, like, well, where else are you going to go? Are you going to start letting the steroid era players in? I personally am not opposed to it. There's been a lot of things they've done in Major League history, like when they not allowed the Negro leaguers to play or the black Spanish players to play, which inflated a lot of the Caucasian and white player statistics. So again, sides to everything. I would personally let him in now posthumously, but I would not have before, because before he died, he did break the rules. And he broke the rules betting on his own team. He knew what he did. He continued to deny it, and then continued to trip over his own feet by making bad decisions, making himself in the league look worse. So before I wouldn't have, but now that he's passed, I would. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, make sure you are subscribed at Ballin' Buds, BALLANDBUTS. Right now, we get into a little bit more of a sensitive topic. We are going to talk Deshaun Watson and everything that has gone on in his career. with the sexual assault charges and what the Cleveland Browns and the NFL can do to get out of this situation. This light is really getting in my eyes. So let me turn that down a second. My ring light. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So again, let's talk about Deshaun Watson here. What are the facts of this case? Well, first of all, as we know, Deshaun Watson has been accused of sexual misconduct by 24 women since 2021. What is the background on this? Well, this is the background. Deshaun Watson booked massages and massage appointments with 66 women in 17 months, the investigation uncovered. Now, for a professional athlete, you may say, that's not really that many. I may need a massage every day. Some other people may say, well, the team has masseuses. Why would you need to go get your own private masseuses? No matter how you look at it, I'm just giving you the background. The Houston Texans, though, this is where issues start to come in. The Houston Texans helped arrange for those massages and on some occasions had the therapist sign NDAs. Why is the team getting involved with the quarterback and having therapists sign NDAs? Little odd, right? Little weird there. Why are you having people sign NDAs on behalf of your quarterback if he's just getting a massage? Anyways, moving on. Just a little weird. Each of the 24 accusers accused sexual misconduct and had a similar malfeasances within their allegations. Each time, Watson pressuring them into some form of clearly unwanted sexual misconduct, sexual assault sometimes, but definitely sexual contact. Watson, for his part, has denied all allegations, and 2 grand juries declined, to bring criminal charges. I just bit the shite up my tongue. Oh, that really hurt. Oh, that was bad. It hurt. I just had dental work done last week. They told me to be careful. Oh, that's gonna pain me. I gotta. Anyways, but I'm about to cry. By the end of 2022, Watson and the Texans, his former franchise, paid at least 30 women to settle the suits that they, brought against him. What happened after that? Well, we know the Texans asked for multiple first-round draft picks and actually got them from the Cleveland Browns, who decided to give up 3 first-round picks, 3 other picks, and a $230 million 5-year fully guaranteed contract to a man under investigation and allegations from 24 women. What then happened? Judge Sue Robinson, who presided over the case for the NFL, suspended quarterback Deshaun Watson for 6 games. The NFL, not wanting to look bad after they completely bumbled and completely screwed up the Ray Rice situation, after Ray Rice brutally knocked his girlfriend out in the elevator and the NFL had the nerve to give him only 2 games. So regardless of the fact that that's absolutely ridiculous, they were trying to make up for their, not looking so good, their, how their profile was looking in public. So they wanted a year ban. They ended up coming to an agreement that it would be 11 games due to the fact that Judge Sue Robinson said, and I quote, or not I quote, I'm paraphrasing the quote rather, Watson's behavior was predatory and amounted to sexual assault. Robinson stressed that while there was no violence involved in the assaults, that the unwanted sexual conduct and sometimes assault still occurred. What she and the league completely failed to acknowledge in this sort of case and in this sort of adjudication is the fact that any type of unwanted sexual assault, contact, anything even further than that, worse than that, is violence. It's violence against a person's body. It's violence against a person's mind, their mental health, right? And so they're not taking these other things into account. I was in agreement that it should have at least been a year. I mean, geez Louise, at least a year. Anyways, 11 games, $5 million fine, had to go undergo professional behavioral evaluation and into a treatment program, while also the Browns and the NFL were required to give $1 million each to fund efforts to prevent sexual assault and misconduct. Browns owner Jimmy Haslam, the one who signed Deshaun Watson to the fully guaranteed deal, said that he would still make the deal despite all the fallout, and even continued to defend Deshaun Watson's character. There's one thing to make mistakes. There's a second thing to double down on your mistakes. And then there's a third thing to completely and utterly be ridiculous and go overboard in your defense of a situation that any human being can see is wrong. We all make mistakes. I've done plenty of wrong things in my life. Just got to take responsibility and admit that you did it. There's really nothing else to that. So the Browns' decision was indefensible then. It's really still indefensible now. It really wasn't going to matter in terms of, football, how well he played. How well did he have to play to make that trade acceptable to you? I pose to the viewer. If you'd like to comment, please go ahead and I'll throw some of those comments up on the screen. But what kind of performance would have led you to accept the fact that you're paying somebody so much money and bringing him onto his team when he has all this baggage that is not just baggage, but really, really, really serious baggage? Does he have to be an MVP? Does he have to win a Super Bowl? Does he just have to take you to the playoffs? Or does he have to be Deshaun Watson, who now, let's be honest, the fans, as shown by booing and cheering when he was injured on the field and yelling, very gross things, they were ready for it to end before he tore his Achilles. And I'm sure the team was as well. Let's look at some stats real quick. Watson's EPA is expected points added per play, or per pass play, ranked 590th out of 592 quarterbacks to play the first 6 games of a season without gaining 300 yards or exceeding 18 points, which he did not do at all. He had 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. It was a horrible statistical standard by anyone's measures. So it doesn't help when he's already playing bad, and yet you're doubling down on that, and you're then running him back out there when he's not even benefiting your football team. You weren't going to win a Super Bowl with him, so now you're stuck with this albatross of a contract with a guy who also has tons of sexual misconduct charges, and he's still, by the way, yes, he settled all those suits with a lot of those women. And yes, 23 out of 24 of the suits that had actually gone to court have been dropped. That does not, as you know, make you innocent, in at least in the eye of the public. Now, in the court of law in the United States, you are innocent until proven guilty, as we know. But in the court of public opinion, that's far, far from the case. So they are stuck between a rock and a hard place. As that did. You know what? Let's keep moving on. I apologize that I said that. What level? I'm sorry. Excuse me. Again, they've defended his character. He completely again denied all this stuff. They said they did their due diligence. What that was, I don't know. Did they just say, "Hey, Deshaun, did you do it?" No. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and sign him to all. Whatever. What does matter is unless Watson medically retires, which you better believe he's not going to do, you would have to be the stupidest person ever in the world to medically retire and forfeit all of that guaranteed money. If not, the Browns are going to still have 2 years and $92 million remaining, plus the void years worth $27 million in total. Watson is 9-10 across his 3 seasons. Now they will get some insurance because they did at least pay for insurance for medical in case something happened injury-wise. So they will get a prorated portion of that paid back to them for the injury this year. But Watson's contract is $1.65 million per game. Per game. So even after restructuring his contract before this season, listen to this, y'all. If he is released or traded this offseason before June 1st, his cut would be a whopping $172 million. If they waited till after June 1st, it would be $118 million. Less, still not great, pretty untenable for any even sports franchise that is making millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. So, at least they filed for insurance, because while I was doing my research on this subject, I found out that the Jets did not insure old ass Aaron Rodgers, and so they had to foot the whole bill, no pun intended, foot the whole bill for Aaron Rodgers for 4 plays last season. Jets, I don't know how you could be so stupid, but considering where you're at now and how your franchise has been run, and yes, that comes from a Raiders fan, Jets just keep loving to do this to themselves. Odds are at some point the Browns are going to have to eat that, right? They're going to have to eat a major dead salary cap charge to move on from Deshaun Watson. How large of a cut are they going to take? Again, they're going to have to at some point. You might as well rip the Band-Aid off like the Broncos, did with Russell Wilson last year with the $85 million dead cap hit that he had. So the problem being, if the Browns actually took either one of those huge cap hits, it would be very hard for them to roster an entire team of players, even on minimum salaries. So they may even have to wait until after 2025 when they have a $99 million cap charge. Then would they try to bring him back? In my eyes, he's way too toxic at this point for any team, even the Browns. Even though you paid him all that money, I don't think any team, even the Browns, can bring him back. Do I put it out of the realm of exit? No, not at all. Not at all. I don't put anything out of the realm of any NFL or billionaires' realm of possibilities, including the Browns. So they could bring him back, but I think he's really toxic. I think his career is done. And so if you're looking at all of the facts of this case, in my eyes, I believe his career is done, and I believe it should be done. And to just go back and talk about the reaction of the fans, this was a huge tipping point on online and on social media. A lot of people were either on, obviously both sides, either they were upset at people that were booing him and cheering the injury, or others that were obviously on the, well, he deserved it train. I don't agree with anyone's injury, demise, or anything like that being cheered or being celebrated. I don't agree with that. We all, again, do bad things, do wrong things. I can't even say a mistake, because in this case, it's not a mistake when you do it multiple times to multiple women. So I'm not going to call it a mistake and try to excuse his actions. It is disgusting and reprehensible. But there is no but. It's reprehensible. In the case of Deshaun Watson, it just wouldn't make sense to bring him back with all of that baggage that he still has, and the still fact that there are still lawsuits out there pending. Again, I don't think he should have been cheered. That being said, I also think that we need to take into account the feelings of the women that were hurt in this situation, the feelings of the multiple women that were abused in this situation. We should be more focused on how their feelings are and how we should be supporting them to get better, their mental health, their bodily health, whatever, instead of being worried about how Deshaun Watson feels. Yes, I pray for him that he gets better because, again, I don't want anybody to get injured. I've broken my leg last year. It sucks. So I don't wish that on anyone, even my worst enemy. But at the same time, I personally am more worried about the people he hurt than him himself being hurt. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure you are subscribed at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS. Thank you for everybody coming in. My boy Amul, yes, thank you, my brother. We have known each other since 5 years old, 6 years old. So shout out to my brother Amul. He says Watson is done in the league. He thinks I do agree, my friend. The guaranteed money cannot be voided unless he medically retires. Any other way, they're going to have to eat a massive cap charge. Jake from the Final Say podcast. Shout out my brother Jake from The Bottom Line Sports. Again, make sure you check us out tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Join the Facebook group at The Bottom Line Sports, or make sure you're subscribed at Ball and Buds. Yes, they can. They can trade Watson, but as I mentioned, he's so toxic. Who really wants to take that on? I personally wouldn't. We get it. The Browns did at one point, but for another team to come after that and make the same mistake, I just can't see it. Amul, Watson can still play in the CFL, which is probably where he's going to end up, or the XFL. Although, if I were The Rock, hey, shout out my boy. I haven't seen you in a hot minute, but we need to catch up, have some of that Terramana. The Rock could bring him in, but I don't think The Rock is that stupid because The Rock is a smart businessman as well. Thank you, Jake. Yes, appreciate that. Oh, is that Juan? Okay. I love I love the content from all three of y'all gentlemen. The Final Say. Oh, they got a logo. Look, y'all got a logo. That is awesome. I was gonna tell you, Jake, that you needed a logo. So good job, my brother. I like it. That's a cool looking logo too. I like that. Amul, if Watson goes, if I were the Browns, I'd sign Cap. I don't think that's going to happen. Again, they've already put themselves in a bad position. If they bring back Kaepernick, who already has heat with pretty much all the owners in the league, because remember, all the owners in the league are white billionaires. And as I've said on multiple podcasts before, those white billionaire owners, I can guarantee you probably 75% of them are racist, at least a little bit. That's just how they were brought up. That was just the time period they grew up in. I'm not excusing it, but it is what it is. I don't think they're going to bring him in, and I think they would be very upset with the Haslams if they did. Hey, my brother, I'm coming home for Thanksgiving and Christmas. By the way, everybody in the DMV, I'll be home for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I shouted at Bruce, we should go to Top Golf and play some mini golf this year. Let's get a mini golf outing going, my brother. All right. Oh, also, thank you for your advice. I sped up there and got really fast. I appreciate you for calming me down, bringing me back to life, my brother. But I'm always trying to speak the truth. This show is all about facts and research, and you're about to find out because we are doing politics. Yes, sir. Politics. Right now, we are going to get into the facts of the election. Tomorrow is election day. And again, as I said at the top of the program, I am not here to sway you. I am not here to tell you who to vote for. Excuse me, I just dropped my microphone. Let me get my lavalier back on. I'm not here to sway your vote. And at this point, again, if there are any undecided voters out there, I don't know what you're waiting on. It's the last day. What are you really waiting on at this point? So I'm not trying to sway anybody. I'm just here to give you facts from both sides. I'm actually going to give a poll update from today, so everybody will be tuned in for that. hey, my brother, if you really want to come on, you are the person that I know that knows politics best. I would love if you would come on right now. Let me know. I will drop you the link in Instagram. So please let me know. But if he does want to come in, that'd be awesome. Until then, we'll go ahead and get this started. What we're going to talk about here first is just to clear up a lot of things. Tomorrow, y'all, we will not just be choosing our next president. We will also be deciding on which party controls the powerful legislative chambers, as both the Senate and the House of Representatives will have a lot of change going on, which will have huge consequences for not only our economic and foreign policies, but other policies next year and beyond. No incoming president has taken office without their party's control of the House or Senate since George H.W. Bush, the older Bush, in 1989. Bush knocked down the towers. Okay, cool. I'm going to send the link over your way. Hey, you all are in for a treat, y'all. You are in for a treat. Amul, he is deeply, deeply, deeply in politics. He is going to come on and join us to talk politics. So that is going to be amazing. Actually, jump over to Facebook. I'm going to send it in Facebook instead because Instagram is actually streaming the program right now. So it won't let me send you a message. So I'm going to send it on Facebook. But anyways, y'all are in for a treat. I don't know a person. There's not a person in my life that I know more that knows politics than Amul. He has been doing politics his whole life. That's what he studied in college. He has run for office in places before as well. So you all are in for a treat. All right. So again, no incoming president has taken office without their party's control, which helps them to do what? To pass laws, to get things through the House and the Senate. When you have divided chambers, it makes things harder to pass because then the other side will block laws from being passed, which we have seen plenty and plenty of times before. So there are a lot of things at stake here. The stake of democracy, the stake of our nation is at fate. Control of Congress, fate of trillions of dollars, including Donald Trump's former president Donald Trump. Let me give him his proper respect. 2017 tax cuts are expiring next year. Trump wants to make those cuts permanent, while Kamala Harris would like to raise taxes on the wealthy Americans and corporations. You know those Trump tax cuts because they were heavily maligned for being a tax cut for the rich, helping his buddies and other people, all the lobbyists and all the people that make money off of these politicians and things like that, all of the super PACs and other things that are other entities, that are making money. So in terms of the little man, if those cuts do not expire and the tax cuts continue on, well, that continues to mean that the rich people are making hand over foot money off of the little people, all off of the smaller people, which honestly, in my eyes, has been going on for way too long in this country. I understand this country is a capitalist country, and I'm not aside from anybody making the old greenback dollar. You know what I mean? Go out and make your money. If you have an idea, if you have a business and you go out and you make the money, more power to you. We are a capitalist society. But at the same time, if you are that rich, you should have to pay your fair share, which is more than other people, in order to support the nation that you're making so much money off of. I'm going to ask Amul that question when he arrives, because I don't know how other people feel about that, but that's just how I feel. Anyways, where we stand right now, the Democrats currently control the Senate, but they will face an uphill climb to retain that chamber on election day. And what happened was there was a Democrat wave year where a lot of Republicans have retired. So a lot of Democrats took over positions in red states that are going to be probably going back to the Republican side of the aisle. The House is now controlled by the Republicans, the GOP. That is a toss-up right now and could come down to the tightly contested districts in California and New York. And with that, we have the treat. Amul Madan, my friend from way back in the day.
How's it going, buddy?
Welcome. What's going on, my brother? How are you doing?
What's going on, man? I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good. Pull your camera down a little bit so the beautiful people can see that whole face of yours. There we go.
Yes, I'm bearded now. We've moved into the fall and winter phase of our lives.
Yeah. You got to get the beard going. I see a little bit of gray growing in the front there.
That's
I haven't
wisdom.
seen you in a
That's
couple
wisdom,
years.
man. That's wisdom. Can't color it. Can't color it.
You can. Oh,
That's
Dion
true. You
chiming
can.
in. Dion says Amul is the man. Shout out, Clever D. Thank you for tuning in.
Hey
Make
D,
sure you
what's
all-
up, man? You should jump on too. We could talk. We could all just talk politics for a little bit.
Hey, he knows he can jump on whenever I'm on. So if you want, let me know, Clever. So, man, I'm so glad you came on because politics, I know, is your thing. You have been deeply involved in politics for as long as I've known you, which has been since we were knee high to a grasshopper. So, First of all, let me ask you, before we get into the actual race and the facts behind all the different conspiracies and different claims that are happening just now, I had mentioned, and I believe, knowing you as well as I do, that you're going to agree with me. Trump's tax cuts are set to expire, the ones that he enacted in 2017, which were much maligned for being a tax cut for the wealthy.
Right.
As you know, this is a capitalist society, which I completely support as an entrepreneur. I am all about people making their money, but I also believe that people, and especially the wealthy, need to pay their fair share, which is more, in order to support the country that they make their money off of. How do you feel about that sentiment?
I agree with you. I do. Okay, his tax cuts are expiring. That's cool. What's next?
Yeah.
I don't think that he's gonna win tomorrow. I think that Kamala has a shot. And before I go further, I just want to say this. I'm going to backtrack for a second. I know your viewers may not like it, but I have to do this.
No, we got all the time in the world. Me and you.
This is the first time on the show. Love the show. I do think you don't talk a whole lot about the Commanders, but that's probably because you don't want to bring up the nickname. That's fine. That's okay.
Dude, did you see the interview I did with DC Commanders insider Shane Peter? He was the one that was talking.
I did. I was just messing with you. Nor the Red Sox, but that's a whole different, can of worms that we can talk about.
Because apparently you're a Nationals fan, anyways. We ain't gonna talk about that.
I'm a fan of both. You could be a fan of one team in each league, I think.
I'm gonna do the Trump dance. I'm gonna do the Trump dance for that one. I'm gonna do the Trump
please
dance.
please don't do that. Don't. Yeah, no. Your dad's watching this probably. So pivoting back to politics for a second, it's worth giving Kamala a shot, I think, because she was the VP. Yeah, it's a second in command. Biden was in office. And I kind of agree with her that it's not all going to be the same. I think that
Now, let me push back for a second, because there's an interview that's going around very popularly here in these last few days, which shows her, when being asked by the news reporter if she would change anything that Joe Biden did, she said she would not. But as we know, there were multiple things done incorrectly, including the worst of that Afghanistan pullout.
Right. That's just posturing. She'll get us out of Afghanistan. I think that she'll knock Bibi up against a wall. I mean that metaphorically, not actually, but she'll, knock some sense into him, is what I mean by that, and try to resolve this Israel and Gaza situation, which, if you think about it, and the young viewers, you might need to go onto YouTube, do it when you're not watching this show, by the way. But we were in college, Omar and I, back in 2000 and 2001, around 2002. So
you were in college. I was in the military.
Well, yeah, but back then we had the same issues with Israel and Palestine back then. There were, so many protests, and I understand the issues. I'm aware of the issues, but at some point they have to be resolved. How they're resolved, I can't speak for the campaign. I can't speak for Vice President Harris, at least not this cycle. So we'll just have to see where she goes with, the policies that she enacts. I do think that her tax cuts will favor the middle class a little bit more. And okay, if you make, say, Elon Musk money, then sure, you're going to have to pay your fair share of taxes. But, that's just the price you pay for making a lot of money in this country.
Yeah. And so let's go back to something you said just a couple. Oh, you know what? Do you have headphones by chance? I'm hearing an echo on your end.
I can find headphones. I don't have headphones on me. You want me to go get my headphones real quick?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, because there's an echo. I'll hold down the feedback.
Okay.
All right. So just to let you all know, this comes from the Council on Foreign Relations website, so CFR.org, the Council on Foreign Relations. And this breaks down each candidate's foreign policy and their policy on other sorts of other subjects and topics that are important in this election. So this is what they have for each candidate on Israel, Gaza, and the Middle East. As we know, the Middle East continues to command global attention and pose challenges for us as the Hamas, the Hezbollah, the Houthi rebel group, all of these different terrorist groups are fighting for different territories and different countries and are dragging a lot of innocent civilians from all of these different countries into their conflict, which is destroying a lot of innocent lives and causing a whole bunch of conflict, which can obviously bring more pressure onto us as we are allies of Israel. Now, Mo was just mentioning that there are certain cases that each candidate is going to have. So this is each candidate's a very short synopsis. Again, Council of Foreign Relations, CFR.org, comes directly from here. In Donald Trump's case, Trump's approach to the Middle East has been defined for strong support for Israel and Saudi Arabia and a confrontational stance towards Iran. He backed away from his long-standing bipartisan consensus by saying he wasn't interested in a separate Palestinian state. Kamala Harris supports a ceasefire and hostage release deal in the war between Israel and Hamas, and she calls for a two-state solution to the Israel-Palestinian conflict. As a senator, she endorsed the Iran nuclear deal and voted for restrictions on arms sales to Saudi Arabia. So that being said, right, that gives us a little more context into how each candidate feels about that subject. But as you mentioned, it's very important, and it has always been an issue with the United States because of how important of an ally Israel is. Now, you're not, again, on this show, you come to get facts, you come to get research nuance. I'm not here to influence your opinion. I would tell you to do what Amul said. Go to YouTube, watch the history of this, because it's much deeper, and you probably don't even know the right history. This goes back way to the freaking Empire days. So go get informed on this subject from someone better than us two. But I do not have a solution either, because my solution would be a two-state solution, which the countries obviously do not agree with. Amul, pick up from here. What are your thoughts so far? Oh, I can't hear you. Are you muted? Yep, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you got it.
Okay. I was going to say, I hate referencing the West Wing like this. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. I think it's season 6. There is an episode arc where they're talking about this very thing, where they're trying to get Israel and Palestine to sit down and talk through a two-state solution. So aside from YouTube, which I know there's a lot of things that are fake, if you're in college, take history classes. Read learn about what's going on.
There should be a library there, right? Isn't there a library?
If your SGA isn't like, I'm gonna do a parting shot to VCU's SGA. If your SGA isn't like VCU's and like trying to, get out of like the first like kill First Amendment rights, which they were trying to do a couple years back, then, just sit on a couple of their meetings. You are allowed to do that so that you can at least learn from a local level and a collegiate level what what the conflict is about and how there are possible avenues for just resolution. But it's a tough discussion to navigate. I will say.
So let's move this a little broader then, and because Israel is our ally, Ukraine is our ally, but a lot of people have, and especially on the GOP conservative side, but a lot of liberals as well, have started to want to decrease the of money and supplies we're giving to Ukraine, and at some point, that fatigue is going to start to happen in Israel as well. So, how much longer can we pretend to be everybody's hero? How much longer can we, and maybe not pretend, maybe pretend is the wrong word. Maybe we still are the world's protector. I don't think other countries see us that way, though.
I don't think we are. I don't think we are where we were when we graduated high school. I don't think we are where we were when you were off in the military and I was in college at all. How long can we keep doing this? I ask myself that same question every State of the Union. Every State of the Union. I don't know. Ideally, as long as Congress keeps funding it, and as we know, coming up in tomorrow's election, we're still going to have a divided Congress. I think Hakeem Jeffries is up for speakership if the Dems win the Senate, and the House will remain Republican if everything remains, as is. If things go as Alan Lakeman wants them to, in which case, don't look up the presidential. Unless if you are a GOP, and even if you're not, even if you're a Dem, vote. And I will say that. Go vote. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I'm not going to tell you, I think at this point, pros and cons have been laid out on both sides. And, you already know who you're voting for. If you're still undecided,
that's crazy.
Flip a coin.
I don't know what to tell you. You're still undecided. That's wild.
Pick a side. Do something. It's easier than picking. God, I hate making this reference. It's easier than picking health insurance during open enrollment.
Very hard.
Such a bad reference, man. I'm so sorry.
No, I worked at a Medicare company doing marketing for about a year and a half, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Just to clear something up that we mentioned earlier, the Trump tax cuts that would expire, the ones in 2017, and the ones that Harris would enact, the Wall Street Journal notes is a gap of $2.3 trillion. That's a lot of money.
Up or down? Up or down?
Well, down. Yeah, it would be less.
Down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When would she be? The Journal usually leans conservative in election years, so I'm surprised they made that.
Right now. Well, right now, let's get into that. More than 48% of the total number of people who voted in the 2020 election have already casted their ballot. Early voting is all the rage after Donald Trump told his supporters last time not to vote early, to go to the polls. It turns out the conservatives are actually leading the way in terms of overall in early voting, while the women demographic is higher than the men.
Right. And do you know who's leading in early exit polls? In terms of, it's Harris at the moment. So I know she's up in Iowa. So vote tomorrow. First round of exits is at 11 a.m. So, make a plan, vote. If you are in line at right when your your area of voting, your voting booth closes, then stay in line. Don't leave.
Right.
Because
great
you want
advice.
your vote to be counted.
They cannot They cannot kick you out. They have
They
to
can't kick you out. They can't
stay
kick
open.
you out at all. So your vote counts. Whether and I'll give you this. Not many people know this. Okay, say you voted. Did you vote, Omar, already, or are you going to vote tomorrow?
Absentee.
Okay, so you can actually track your ballot once it goes in. They let you, they let you know like what your ballot number is, so that you can track your ballot to see when it's been counted. And you can certify on your own that you don't need people from Georgia or Nebraska to help count your ballot. But sorry, I had to. I lived in Georgia for a year, so I sort of know like what it's like in this. I think this election cycle they're going to go purple, at least in Atlanta, but red everywhere else. So it's because of what Kemp's doing, but that's a whole other ball of wax that we can get into later.
Would that be the increase that Trump has popularity-wise with the black men now?
Yes and no. So Kemp passed a lot of rules and regulations for their courts to basically
Governor Brian.
Yeah, gerrymander like the different polling places where you could go vote, and made it so that it was harder. Plus, he expelled a lot of people from voter rolls as well. So he just made it tougher. Like you had to go and re-register. Which, if you haven't registered, John Oliver did it, and I say that because he voted last time, and I think I watched his episode over the weekend, and he's doing the same thing this time around. He's not re-registering, but you can register day of. So I will say, but I'm excited. We're gonna see how things go. I think early on I said that we were up by 8. If you and I had talked back in August, I would have been like, yeah, she's up by 8. And we'll see how things go. Was I really excited. Now I think she's up by 2. So
this is what I have just to clear this up. So obviously there are margins of error on both sides, so this could swing 1 to 2 points either way. But final polls released this morning by the New York Times, Siena College, Morning Consult, Rasmussen, ABC News, Atlas Intel, and NBC News show a neck-and-neck picture when broken down by swing states. Looking at Morning Consult's final survey shows that Harris has a 2-point lead nationally, but is ahead of Harris in North Carolina and Georgia by 2 points, and ahead in Wisconsin by 1 point.
That'll change.
Tied in Arizona.
That'll change.
Would that go red or will that go blue?
That's leaning red right now. I'd prefer it if that goes red, then Nevada has to go blue, I think.
And tied in Pennsylvania.
That'll probably, because of what happened this weekend, or even before this weekend, with the comic that made some racist comments, I think that's gonna happen. Yeah.
My people and I are not very happy about that. So, not that it's going to make a difference, because again, probably at this point, most people have either voted or have decided on who they're going to do. But I did see a YouTube video earlier where they were interviewing Trump voters and asking them who are Puerto Rican, and asking them if this would have changed their opinion. And there are still a lot of as we call them, Thomases that will want to be more Caucasian than their heritage suggests, and so they're still voting for Trump. But that being said, let's get this all out in the open. Those were some nasty comments that comedian has. And look, I am all one for free speech for comedians. If he had said that in a Netflix special, I would have had no problem with it whatsoever. Actually, I mean, while it's offensive to the people, to myself and the people of my island and Puerto Rico, and while the watermelon joke was offensive to black people and all the other jokes he made about the Palestinians and the Mexicans and all of these jokes were horrendous and just not in good taste or in very poor taste. But if they had been done on a Netflix special, cool. I'm all for it, man. Whatever. Free speech, you getting paid for that. You're allowed to do whatever you want. But to do it at a political rally and then not even taking into account that you're hurting the person that you're trying to boost up, it just seems like a really bad look.
As an entrepreneur, let me ask you this. As an entrepreneur, if you were undecided, if you could put yourself in the shoes of one of your countrymen who are also undecided, or who is undecided, rather, do you think this would sway you one way or another, given what he said? Like, would it sway you towards him, or would you be like, nah, fam, I'm good. Like, I don't need that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, not only has it swayed a lot of people, I mean, again, it didn't affect me, but I've talked to many Puerto Ricans, including all the people in my family who are all still living on the island, and they've talked to many people, and the majority of Puerto Ricans have completely written off Trump. Most of them, to be honest, didn't really care for him after his stunt after Hurricane Maria. So, you know, no matter what Trump says, that he's the best with all groups and everyone likes him. In Puerto Rico, the words on the ground speak a lot differently as to them embracing Trump at all. And now this definitely pushed a lot of more people over the edge to Kamala Harris's side. Now, again, that's not everybody. There's going to be your outliers and your other pieces of crap that we have in every race and in every heritage. But I mean, if you're asking me, that's a pretty big and stupid comment to say that, especially in a diaspora of New York and Pennsylvania, the states which have big, huge Puerto Rican communities.
Absolutely, and to say nothing of, I believe there's also a sizable Puerto Rican contingent in Miami as well, right? So, like, you know, down there where most of them, everyone leans red. You know, it's possible they also could have been worked up. I know that he hasn't said very much about Indians, but I know that a small minority. This is what happens when you catch my dad at the same time. But a small minority, because of his business acumen, as it were, side with him. I don't, because you know me since we were kids. You know what side I lean as it is, but I try to be effective about this now that I'm out of the whole political. I mean, I'm in it, but I'm not in it. I'm retired. That's my official position. I'm retired. You know, it's hard for me to side with that, to get on board with that, given what happened during his last, like when he was president, those 4 years, and just it was awful. 9/11 changed. I'm gonna go back. 9/11 changed the way we treat people of color in this country, and to an extent, and it got pushed, you know, almost further. Just it wasn't as kind. It wasn't as just welcoming. There were a lot of people who chose to leave. You know, I had friends who were like, all right, I'm just going to go find work in another country. Or I'm going to, you know, they happen to be working for a company that had a European office. So they were going to work in Europe. But, you know, I don't know. I can't get on board with the same. You know, I can't get on board with that. Like, he had his time. In my view, it's over. But I can't control what's going to happen tomorrow. So just go vote. I'll say that.
And so you said earlier that you believe that Kamala is going to win. Now, obviously, I know which way you lean. But now knowing the polls and knowing how close things are now, and I can't believe there's 2% undecided voters. That's ridiculous. But anyways, whatever.
It happens.
Now that you know how close it is, are you going to stay with your prediction here on this show.
Oh yeah. Oh, of course I am. Of course I am.
I don't agree. I think that Trump's going to win.
You are not the first friend that I know that said that.
I don't back either. I mean, I pretty much don't want to go back to. You know me. I'm an independent. I don't like politicians. You know how I think most politicians. Yeah. You are literally the only politician I trust. Like you are,
I'm not even a politician.
Like I don't like the politicians. I think they're liars, cheaters, stealers, all that stuff, scumbags. But they're a necessary evil as well in society.
Speaking from experience, a little bit, because I was on campaigns in undergrad. I was on campaigns post grad. It wasn't bad in the early days. I'll say that. We could talk. I lean left, but I had a lot of friends across the aisle. We used to break bread. We used to drink over at the Hawk and Dove, and it was fabulous. Now you don't drink at the Hawk and Dove as much. Things changed in 2016, and I don't know from a GOP standpoint how much he's damaged the party. And because you have to have balance. If you have too much of a good thing, then inevitably either people get complacent or there's always going to be something to fight for. And I agree with where Harris is going to try to take the country, but how is the GOP going to come back? Because at some point he's got to retire. If in 4 years, he's 78 now, if in 4 years he's 82, is he going to run again? And if he doesn't run again, who's going to take a spot? What's the bench look like? And are they willing to go back to the way things used to be in John McCain's time? Or, I'm not going to reference, I'm not going to reference the Bush years, but you know what I mean? In simpler times where you could actually talk across the aisle and, you could have proper conversations and, you could agree and disagree, and that's okay. And then you would go back to talking about, why Giannis maybe deserves another ring if he can get, the right amount of people around him or something. I don't know. Giannis should get another, but that's a different story for a different time. That's a different topic. But or why Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. God rest his soul. But I don't know. I think it's harder now. And when it gets to this point, you want to know what's going to happen next, how things are going to shake out. You're in Nashville, so I'm here, and they've boarded up every all near the White House. Everything is boarded.
Oh, wow!
You can go to WashingtonPost.com. You can see pictures of this, and it's anticipation of if something were to, if 45 wins, I still call them 45. If 45 wins, what will happen? I remember January 6th. I live in Arlington now, so they had to board up the apartment complex that I live in. I had to tell the project that I was on, I have to hop off for my safety right now. So you have to sort of be prepared for everything that's going to come our way. Things are different.
Do you think that, we are in a different time where the discourse is obviously more, violent. The divisiveness has increased. And yes, that is, there's no doubt about it. A lot of it is attributed to, Donald Trump and the rhetoric that he spews as well. That's a lot of times. It's funny because I will say this, and I hate that I feel this way, not because of me as a voter, but just because the type of person Trump is. I mentioned earlier in the Pete Rose thing, it was also about his character. Um, Regardless if I even agreed with Trump's policies or not, the fact is that he's just a very despicable human being. Like
Yes,
he's
I agree.
misogynistic, he's sexist, he's racist, he doesn't care about anybody but himself. He doesn't even like his own family. I mean, his
Yeah.
wife doesn't even talk to him. I found out his wife calls him POTUS in text messages, which is very weird. So like
POTUS
your
means
family,
President of the United States, so he still
well,
uses
I know,
that.
damn, I can't even call it by my real name, wife. Anyways, but I say all that to say that he's not a person in my eyes that represents someone that should be leading any country whatsoever. But regardless of that, a lot of people don't feel that way. A lot of people like his
Right.
voice. A lot of people like his aggressiveness and
Right.
his tendencies. But it's funny because I watch every single Trump rally. I find he's a wrestling heel. That's what he is. He is Hulk Hogan, and that's why he brings him on, because Hulk is just doing what he, and that's what he does. He is just a wrestling heel. He's out there doing his promos at rallies. So I watch pretty much every Trump rally that I can still to this day
Yeah.
because I find them hilarious. Like I will laugh for 3 hours while he just rambles on. But it was funny because I turned into the first one yesterday at 3 rallies yesterday. I watched 2 of them. I missed the middle one because I was
Okay.
doing. But right when I tuned in for the first one, I came in about 5 minutes after it started, and I was like, "All right, let's see what he's talking about." I bet he's talking about the whatever, the Democrats or whatever. So right when I get on, the first 2 words that I hear are "stupid people," and I'm just like, "Oh my god!" Like I don't want my president calling anyone else stupid, and it was like the first word I heard when I tuned in, and then he put on a video about Kamala mentioning his name, and it was a cut together, spliced video of Kamala saying Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, and he's not even aware to the fact that he's literally been talking about her for the past 15 minutes, and I'm just like, okay, I don't know what's happening here. Are we in some sort of like, what was that old show called? Oh
It's
man,
not an old show. Black Mirror still exists. Black
no,
Mirror still exists.
I'm thinking similar to that, but it was way back in the day. The thing is on the
Oh.
wing. The thing is on the
Yeah,
wing.
yeah. The thing is on the wing.
You know what I'm talking about. Come on, help me here. Oh no, it's on the tip of my tongue.
If you know this and you're in the chat, type it out.
Please, someone give us the name of this show. It's from like the 70s. It's oh my god.
I thought you were thinking of
That's gonna upset me so much.
2001 Space Odyssey. I thought that's what you were thinking about.
It's similar to that, but that's not what I'm talking about either. I'm talking about the one where they have the different episodes, that different things happen.
Oh, if it was from the 70s, brother, we never watched that. It's fine.
Okay, anyways. Doesn't matter.
You
All right.
might have, but I never did.
It's gonna come back to me. I'm gonna remember it. Because the episode is they were on a plane and there was like a gremlin on the wing, and the guy was like inside and he's like sweating, and it was a whole episode about just like this being scared on a plane sort of thing, and it was that type of show.
Mission Impossible? No, that's not it.
What are you talking about? It was a sci-fi show, fool.
You still call people fool? Come on, man.
Oh, you're damn right I call people fool. Anyways, before we get you out of here, what are your thoughts on the Electoral College? This is a pretty big issue on both sides of the aisle. Some people would like to abolish the Electoral College, but other people don't because they adhere to what the Founding Fathers wanted to do, which was protect the rural vote from getting overrun by the urban vote, which would happen. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious and logical that would be the next step to happen. So do you agree, or do you think we should keep the Electoral College?
We can, but I don't really see a real need for it anymore. It's a lot like daylight savings time. I mean, I will say this, like, and I'm sorry, I'm not answering that particular question first, but like a lot of things, we don't use calculators anymore to do math. We use our phones. We don't. Our body clocks are aligned to standard time as opposed to daylight savings time. Is there a real need for the Electoral College? Maybe, maybe not. Like, I think we could easily. What do you think? Do you think we should abolish it, or do you think we should keep it? Where do you stand on this? Because you're like a stone's throw away at this point. This whole thing is a stone's throw away from MSNBC at this point. We could both jump on. What is it? We could both jump on Rachel Maddow in 30 minutes if you wanted to. I'm kidding when I say that. We're not doing that. Yeah, I'm kidding. We're definitely not doing that. Nor are we on NPR later on today. That's a whole segment of it. But what do you think? Should we do the Electoral College, or should we just, should we keep it, or should we abolish it?
Well, I mean, let's look at both sides of this. The reason for eliminating it would be that multiple presidents have lost the popular vote, but still not been instilled as president because of the Electoral College. The other side of that, yes, the other side of that being that the urban centers, which clearly have the majority of the population of each state, would logically, again, just looking at things inherently and logically, they would overrun the vote of the rural. And those two constituencies are quite different. And I can tell you, because if you come to Nashville, the dichotomy of being here inside of the city center of Nashville and how diverse that is, and juxtaposing that with going 15 minutes south outside the city and possibly having to avoid being lynched because my name is Omar and I'm brown. So I see it every day. I hear it every day. I hear racism all the time here. But I still feel like those people need to be represented and respected as well. So
yeah, they should be. That I'll agree with.
And I feel like if you take that away, there is no protection for that. And I feel like the Democratic candidate would probably win the majority of the time, which just wouldn't be fair.
They would. I mean, I'm fine with keeping the Electoral College. I'm in favor of increasing Supreme Court size, but we can talk about that.
No. So please, and hold on real quick. Yes, thank you, Clubber D. Thank you, Dion. Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone is exactly what I was thinking about. Thank you,
Dion.
Thank you, Jonathan. No,
see, this is what happens when you get two 40-plus-year-olds together. We're just trying to hash things out.
I love it. No, but you know a lot about the Supreme Court because, again,
yes,
this is what you studied as
Scalia and Ginsburg. Met them both.
Yeah. So go ahead. What are your thoughts on the Supreme Court? There are a lot of people that want to, what is the word I'm trying to look for?
Influence?
No, they want to abolish the what is it called?
The term limits.
Well, term limits definitely need to be there needs to be term limits. I completely think there should be term limits. Like you shouldn't be a Supreme Court justice for more than 20 years. I'm sorry.
At this point, yes. The size of the court, was that what you were thinking of?
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
So allow me to take you on a quick history lesson. And this is the part where normally, if you guys have already been bored by this conversation, just leave it on, fall asleep, come back in about 5 minutes. We'll be good.
And make sure you're liking this right now so we can get promoted out there while we have this.
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and, hit Omar up in the DMs and tell him how much you love the Mets. So historically speaking, the court was 6, I believe, at first, way back when. And then they got it up to 9. They increased the court size to 9. And I would be in favor of them increasing the court size to 12. Just even if it was on a limited basis, maybe 50 years, the rest of our life, for the rest of at least our lifetimes, and my niece's lifetimes too, perhaps. But I think that would be a good idea. But it also depends on who's in power. We already know that Clarence Thomas is probably going to resign if 45 comes into power again. He sort of tipped his hand with it a couple times. He refused to take John Oliver's $2 million bus retirement fund or retirement.
I remember that. That's funny.
Yeah, which is great. And so, the court's going to lean further right than it was in my day. It's a reason why a lot of these, why we as a society work better when the court is balanced. It was gutted when sorry, forgive me. I was gutted when, it ended up being where the Dobbs decision came down and, there go abortion rights. And it's the end of Roe v. Wade. Because that had been around for ages. Now, that said, I'm very respectful of the court. I understand what their function is as a body, as a governing body. Well, not really governing, but as a legal body. And it would be nice if the court was balanced again. I'll say that.
So what happens when it's balanced? Who makes the deciding vote? Because right now, the reason it's unbalanced, as far as I understand it,
Chief Justice.
Okay.
It would be Justice Roberts.
And I also have to ask you this because I know she was one of your idols, RBG.
Ginsburg, I met her on a few occasions.
Right. And awesome lady by all accounts. I think she did a lot for women. But that being said, there are a lot of people on the Democratic side that were upset that she did not retire before she died, thus letting Trump be allowed to install multiple right-wing leaning jurors. How do you feel about that? I'm
fine with it. I'm okay that, as some of my friends have said privately to me, that she stayed too long at the fair. Because I'm the type of person that if you love what you do, it's not a job. I love what I do professionally. So I don't view it as a job. You love what you do, you're having fun. And she was clearly having fun. It was different after Scalia passed away. Because Scalia and her were they fought a lot. And it was fun because outside of the court, they were legitimately friends. They would go on vacations with each other. And it was just awesome. You don't see that now.
Right.
And so, the reason I want the court to be expanded, maybe 3 if Harris comes into power, if Harris gets elected, is that way it might be a little bit more balanced. So you have the voices of conservatism and liberalism, duking it out and putting together dissents that are just chef's kiss. Read some of Sotomayor's dissents, and even Jackson as well. Read some of hers, and read some of the conservative ones too.
But just to say, Sotomayor, the first Puerto Rican female, and also Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first Black female.
So, the reason I say read some of the conservative dissents too, is because at least it gives you a window into their mind. You may disagree with it, and that's fine. I more than likely disagree with it as well. But at least you have a view into the other side. It's a lot better than being ill-informed. It's a lot better than saying, okay, well, I'm just going to, look at just one side and that's it. I'm not going to look at both sides of the issue and figure out for myself, who's right, who's wrong.
Yeah, and I mean that's why everybody comes to this program. They come for they come to get both sides of the coin. They know I am the yin and the yang personified, and they know that I will give them all facts and nuanced research. So we appreciate.
Did you just say you're the yin and the yang personified?
No. I'm balanced. I am yin and yang personified. I am both. I am the water and the wine. Right.
Okay. Wait. All right. You know what? Let's go. Let's
Jesus did.
Have you told that story yet?
Oh, wait. Yes. I have told that story before. So, Amul is actually the one that I went to. If you've watched me on the Bottom Line Sports, watch us tomorrow night. Shameless plug at the Bottom Line Sports on YouTube and Facebook. We'll be on tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. But on that show before, I've told the story of Red Auerbach and how he passed away. And Amul and I, this is the man that joined me. We skipped school and went to Red Auerbach's. We skipped high school. Went to Red Auerbach's funeral. Which was
out of high school.
No. We were in high school. We skipped high school.
Yeah, we were in high school. Yeah.
Yeah. And we skipped to go to his funeral. We got to meet Kevin McHale. Robert Parrish was there. I was upset that Larry Bird wasn't there, but I got to meet some other players. And we almost, if we were not such good people, and if we were not we met Danny Ainge. But if we were not such good people, if we were not such respectful and polite people, we were invited over to the Auerbach household at Georgetown afterwards, and we were going to crash the party. Decided to be decided to be respectful, and we didn't go.
Yes, we were. This is a true story, folks. We were. So story goes, I heard on the where it was on. I'm sure do we know what I don't even know what class we skipped, but or what period it was. But I remember, as the story goes, real quick, is that I was driving and heard that it was open to everybody, and I call you up, and I'm like, "Hey, we should go to this," and you're like, "Okay, cool," like, or as the kids say now, bet. Let's, I'm hip to
wow.
Anyway. Yeah.
That shows your age there, buddy. Damn, don't
right.
tell me you're over 40 without telling me you're over 40, sir.
Well, I am definitely not Gen X. Anyway, so I'm calling and I'm like, hey, let's go. He says, bet, let's go. So we get ready for this thing, and I think I was picking you up, and
you
went together, and so on the way there, we hear that it's closed, and it's a closed ceremony. We're already like 80% of the way in. We're pulling in, basically. So yeah, that's true. That is true. We were very respectful. Yes, there were paparazzi on the wall, and
there was.
We did actually get to meet John Thompson, which was a highlight of mine.
John Thompson. Yeah,
we did.
And I'm also bearing the biggest lead of all. We got to shovel dirt on Red Auerbach's grave, which is a traditional Jewish ceremony, right, where people are able to come through the line and shovel. Mm-hmm. We got to shovel dirt on Red Auerbach's grave. That will forever be one of the most honorable moments of my life.
And it wasn't, we went with no ill will, no malice. Didn't mean any disrespect whatsoever. But it was, it was phenomenal. Obviously, we wished him well. We rest in peace. We knew who he was. My dad was a huge Celtics fan when he was alive. You've seen Omar's behind the scenes from him being at the finals. So, you know that he's a big Celtics fan. And I'm a decent Celtics fan. Not as big as he is, though.
You're because you keep going back to your Washington teams. That's right.
I don't really have an NBA team that I root for anymore. I really don't. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't really have an NBA. I root for players now. I don't root for the Wizards, but
So before we get started, then, because this was an amazing conversation, I really appreciate you coming in and informing our viewers, giving them more perspective from your expertise on the election and politics. I'd love to have please go vote. I'd love to have you on again after, maybe in the next couple of weeks. We can talk this again. But before we get you out of here, let's get some of your sports thoughts. First of all, what are your thoughts on? And I know we both love this. This both makes us pop. but the Yankees getting demolished in the World Series. As a Red Sox fan and a Mets fan, we both love that. What are your thoughts on the World Series and the Dodgers winning it?
So I don't think. Are you as big of a Taylor Swift fan as you used to be? Or
Oh
no?
my God! Yeah, I had tickets to the World Series. I had bought tickets.
Yeah. This was karma for me. Not a huge Yankee fan. He's not a huge Yankee fan. But this was karma for me because the Dodgers winning, like, they wanted it more. And I'm sorry, Freddie Freeman, like, demolishing all their hopes and dreams. I'm sorry, suck it. Now, I say this as somebody who is now checked off Yankee Stadium. Yes, it's a beautiful park. Yes, it's a wonderful place to catch a game if you're rooting for the other team, and the other team is good. But as the Cubs were, but they lost. Anyway, minor point. But I think that what do I think? I think that oh wow. Okay, I'm going to say something on here that and for those that, I mean, if you allow me to pitch Instagram, I can. My Instagram handle, I can.
Please, no, but, yeah. Ask you for anyway.
I'm at 2 Instagrams, but I'll give you my personal one for the time being. Imadon23, and you'll find a bunch of photography on there that I do now, and I'm become a bit of a storyteller. Still very much an agilist, so it's tied into what I do professionally. And then there's a separate photography one that I'm starting up as well. But I think that on one of my stories, I said that the Dodgers would beat the Yankees for the World Series. They would be World Series champions, and that Soto, and I know you might razz me for this, but Soto would sign with the Nats. Now, I'm the type of I've become a wait and seer. I want to see if that actually happens, because we get too excited about things that are going to happen in our lives, and then they don't happen. You know, it's sort of the way our society works now. So I'd rather wait and see if Soto signs with the Nationals. If he does, they got a good core. They need some pitching. And no, I will not help them anymore. But you know, they need to do something. So
I mean,
I will say
I've heard that rumor, and I've heard that the Nationals really want him back, and I've heard that he would want to play with the Nationals again. But the Nationals are too young, and they're not really in the point where they're going to win a championship in the next few years.
They're 2-3 years away. They're fine.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to that money now, especially when you already won a World Series with him.
Yeah, but come on, wouldn't it be cool? Like, wouldn't it? He goes.
Well, then why did you let him go in the first place? Y'all should have just gave him all the money then.
We tried to. He didn't want it. We gave him 15 years, $440 million.
Hey, sometimes you got to make it 10 years, $440 million.
He wants $700. He wants the top Shohei's deal. Look it up. He wants the top Shohei's deal. Shohei's deal has got a bunch of deferred interest.
Right, which today's value would only be $460 million. Just to make sure everybody knows, his $700 million contract deferred to today's money is $460 million. So that's what Soto would be looking to beat, which we think he will. $550 million is that top line number. They're saying. So, all right. Well, what about? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, for those wondering, who are gonna watch this later, that was Omar doing his best Jerome Powell bit. For those that are unaware, Jerome Powell is the head of the Fed Reserve. So in this case, though, when he talks, stocks won't plummet or rise, as it were. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Wanted to, make that Jerome Powell crack when I could.
No, you're good.
This is great.
So what are your thoughts then on your Washington Commanders? Jaden Daniels is the rookie of the year by far. So
this is one of those things where I could say, remember high school? Remember how awesome things were. I'm reserving how I feel right now because I've been let down so many times. The Washington Commanders, I guess, were the Commanders. sure. And I know we've got a lot of I think you're still friends with Dane, but like he was on earlier, but like there I know you've got a lot of other Commander fans. I would prefer they call him a different nickname, but whatever they're called now. Just because I know it's going to look bad in Madden. Like if I ever get the game again, it's just going to look bad. I love that Jaden Daniels is going to be our future. I'm scared because I don't want him to turn into RB3. We need to fortify that O-line. And if we don't have big, beefy guys up front, we're not going to be able to do anything. And I'm sorry, like, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Usually around here in DC metro area, the calendar turns from September to October. It's hockey season. This year, the Commanders are pushing it back further and further. Even though hockey season has started, and I love my Caps, but I really have a good feeling about the Commanders. Whether they'll hit 10 games, whether they'll hit 12, whether they're going to be the first. I know they're first in their division right now.
Feeling
Whether
really
they're
good.
going to, I don't know. I'd rather be surprised because I am tired of saying, hey, they're going to go, I don't know, what is it, 17 games now? They're going to go, I don't know, 14-3 or something like that. You know, I don't want to say that because then I'll jinx it. I don't want to, be like Aaron Rodgers coming on like Pat McAfee show and just spouting stuff that, at the end of the day isn't gonna happen. I mean, I'll say this about Aaron Rodgers real quick. He was good once. He was. Don't draft him in fantasy. Whatever you do, don't draft him in fantasy. I had a friend who drafted him in fantasy, dropped him after week 2 last year, and then this year, it's like, why did I draft him again? He drafted him again because he wanted it. But I think the Commanders have a good future ahead. They just need to draft up. And I think we've got, from a front office perspective, I think we have the right people there. My worry is that they're going to be one and dones or twos and dones. But I hope that Dan Quinn sticks around for a while.
Yeah, I think Dan Quinn was the right hire coach. I think you're right. The main concern is that the worst might happen. He might end up like RG3 with the horrible injury. Yeah. But the best concern is that he does win Rookie of the Year and continues to carry you on forward. You did mention.
I don't want him to. I don't want him to carry us forward. I want a balanced attack. So I want a balanced attack because otherwise, if we rely on him too much, like how much weight does he have to still put on? Like,
right.
I would say put on at least 50 more pounds. Like,
yeah, he needs to put out a little bit.
30. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
No, you're good. I just wanted to ask real quick. You did mention the Capitals. Do you think Alex Ovechkin breaks the great one, Wayne Gretzky's record?
Yes, absolutely.
Not this year, though, right?
Probably next year. Probably next year. This year, if he goes on a tear. Like this year, if he decides to wind the clock back 5-10 years, lose the gray and, is all of a sudden coming out looking like he's 25.
But he's definitely going to play until he breaks it, though? Is that like the stance he's taking?
I think that's what's going to happen. Yeah, I think he's going to play until he breaks it. I think he's going to play at least another 2 years. There's been talk that he's going to go to one of the Russian leagues, I think the KHL, but I hope that doesn't happen. I hope he doesn't turn to Jaromir Jagr. Because
a la Jaromir Jagr.
I don't want him to do that. Like, you're still in your prime. Still, like, at least play out the contract. Yeah. And then,
yeah, might as well.
I mean, I feel bad for Backstrom because Backstrom's injured. Oshie's injured. But, it's been tough. We're in this weird spot where we've got a young core that still needs to mature, a lot like the Commanders, a lot like the Nets. And, I just, and we've got him. So we've got it's a balance. It's a Supreme Court balance, as you might say.
Hey,
I
hear it. Well, hey, thank you so much. Hey, everybody, I am so glad that everybody tuned in today. If you did, you tuned in for a treat. My dear old friend Amul, who I've known since we were children, 5 years old. He is a scholar in politics, in all of the things that go into Supreme Courts and stuff like that. So we are honored to have him,
photography,
expertise today.
Bunch of stuff.
Actually, yeah. Go ahead and plug your account again. I believe it was A Madan, which is MAD.
Yeah, AMADAN 23. I am a photographer. I have started shooting a lot of Milky Way. I took a class earlier this year, and classes actually, and my professor at the time said, if you take one Milky Way picture, you will want to take more. I have not wanted to stop taking Milky Way photos. Like, you and I can talk about this outside of this, but my God, just being out there in a dark sky park, and yes, were there people in front of us? Yes, there were. Were they drunk? Absolutely. It was hysterical, but it made for a great shot. So it made for a great capture.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely get with Bruce, because he's actually trying to become a photographer now too. So he's been doing videos and pictures. So definitely talk to him. I love it. Nice. I love the Milky Way. I only saw one Milky Way on your timeline, and I mean this with all reverence and respect. But there was a Spider-Man on there, and I think her name was Gwen, and she with the black suit that looked like the Milky Way.
It's Dominique.
That was an amazing picture. So shout out to her.
Thank you. Yeah. She's one of the models I shot at, or I took pictures with at the Halloween portrait meet. I can plug that if you don't mind. Portrait Meet DC, I shoot with them. All photographers are welcome to join us if you're in the DC metro area, or if you're coming outside of the DC metro area and you're hanging. Don't come for one meet. Come stay a while, because that would just be a lot of expenses for you. But it was nice to join you, and it was say hello to your mom and your dad for me. And
I will. And I'll hit you up when I get home.
Absolutely. Stay out of trouble, please, because I know how you are.
Yeah, whatever. And if you have
the mind of the professor.
Yeah. All right, get out of here. I'll hit you up in 4 weeks when it.
All right, later, bro. See ya.
You, man.
Thank you, man.
All right. Well, that was my brother Amul Madan. Thank you for joining us. That was awesome. Again, hey, everybody, hit that like button. We're not done yet. I got a couple more things I want to touch on. Obviously, that was a long conversation about politics that we had and things like that. So there are some stuff still that I had beforehand that I still want to wrap up with. So give me about 10 more minutes here and we will wrap it up. But please make sure you're subscribed at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS. Make sure you subscribe at YouTube and follow on Instagram. We are trying to evolve and boost up those channels. So please make sure you hit that like button right now. Right now, hit it. Shout out to everybody that has tuned in so far. Again, Amul, Dion, Hot Take Jake, Carl, Canteen, Flo, my brothers from the Bottom Line Sports, and my brother Joe from the Manor crew. I saw he checked in to talk about Pete Rose. I missed this earlier, but I wanted to make sure I said it. He says, I feel like they were looking deeper to get deeper into the playoffs as years went on and putting time between Pete Rose's infractions and his success. So shout out. Thank you for that comment. I appreciate that. So yeah, anyways, let's wrap up the rest of this political talk before I get up out of here, because I need to go right now. My Celtics are on. By the way, if you didn't know, ball night, all NBA teams are playing right now. They're going every 15 minutes, so you'll be able to watch all the teams tonight if you have the league pass like I do. And I also need to go because football is on. But let's tie up a couple loose ends here before we get out of here. First of all, y'all, just be careful where you're getting your information. A lot of these news sources are going to lie to you, especially if you're getting your sources or your news straight from YouTube or other people like that, personalities, influencers, people that may not have the expertise that Amul Madan has. Please pay attention. Please research whatever you're given. Not everything you're told is true. Each side wants to tell the other their base what they want them to believe. And most of the time, there is going to be exaggerations and falsehoods. And a lot of times, there's going to be straight up untruths. So please don't believe everything that you are told and don't let it influence you one way or another. Also, don't be a one don't be a one issue voter. I say that out of all the love of my heart for the people that I go to church with and spend a lot of time with that are older. They obviously are very much against abortion and vote Republican because of that one issue. I'm not saying which way you should vote. Again, I just come to give you the facts, but don't be a one voter issue because there are so many other things in your life than just one single issue. Now, again, that may fit the rest. Their political choices probably still fit a lot of what they want anyways, but it may not for you. So just be clear what you're looking for and make sure that you are investigating each candidate, doing proper research, not just your own research, which a lot of people say they like to do, but doing actual research like I've done for this episode, spending hours and hours going through articles and looking at different websites and stuff like I did. You're going to want to make sure that you are properly informed. Make sure you vote tomorrow as well. But no matter what, again, I was a veteran. Me and my veteran brethren, we fought and sacrificed our time and our freedom and our lives for you to do whatever you feel. So if you feel like you cannot vote, you want to abstain because you do not want to choose the lesser of two evils, I support you in that as well. But if you want to participate in the democratic process, voting is the only, well, not the only way, obviously you can do lobbying and other things, but the only way that most regular citizens have to participate. So again, tomorrow, get out there. Remember, like Amul said, if the polls are going to close, stay in line. They cannot close until every vote has been taken, no matter how late it is. My ending thoughts, the professors, usually I have a positive subject for y'all. I didn't want to do a positive subject and today instead, I want to give you my thoughts as to us as a nation, us as people, us as collective, the human being race. There is no lesser of two evils. There is only what you believe in your mind is best for you as an individual, but there is right and there is wrong, and you have to make that decision based on what you decide are your moral principles. But what I want to say is that no matter what your principles are, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, no matter how you may feel or how committed you may be to one party or the other, or certain policies or certain politicians, as a lot of the MAGA movement is with Donald Trump, all I want to say to each and every one of us is that the only way that we're going to get through this is together. There's been too much divisiveness in the past 10, 15 years, and actually since 9/11, as Amul astutely pointed out, because there started to become a racial divide between the Caucasians and the everyone else. And that gap has only increased since then. And unfortunately, we need to bring that back together. I have never known to the ability to be racist to anyone. I love people of all colors. I have friends of every color, every race, every religion, ethnicity, gay, straight, whatever. I have friends of all kinds, and I am not going to discriminate against you because of anything. And that's what we all need to do to make this world a better place. I'm not saying it's going to be a utopia. I'm not blind. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to be, rose-colored glasses. But I do know that we need to get back to what Amul was saying. Proper discourse between each other, supporting each other, and trying to make this world a better place, trying to help our fellow man, trying to bring up those that are less fortunate, and just being kinder to each other. As Jesus would tell us, to love your neighbor, to love each other. That's the only way we're going to get through this. And again, we have to get through it together. Unless you're going to up and leave the United States, which a lot of people do. If you're not, we got to get through this together. Whether you believe something different than I do or not, or you believe the same, we have to do it together. So we need to start putting away the divisiveness. We need to start putting away the hate, the dislike, and we need to start coming together more. We need to start bringing together more that unity that we had when 9/11 actually happened, and we were all brought together against one cause. But the problem is that cause diverted into treating people in a way that they shouldn't be treated because of the color of their skin. And I know, because I get it all the time. My name is Omar, and I have brown skin, and I'm in the middle of a red state in Nashville. I cannot tell you how many times I've had racial slurs said to me or questions. It happens all the time. Because my name is Omar and I'm brown. Most people accuse me of being a terrorist. I get it. I'm used to it at this point. It happens. But I didn't. I served my country in the Air Force very proudly for 6 years and then worked as government contractor for a long time after that, supporting the efforts of the United States, and I love my country. But I love my fellow people too. And that's what we need to do is love each other. On that note, I love you all. Without hitting my mic, I love you all. Go out and make sure you vote tomorrow if that's what you want to do. If not, sit at home on the couch, drink a beer, puff a joint, whatever you feel like doing. I don't know, whatever your vice is. And we will see you tomorrow on the Bottom Line Sports, 8 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you're subscribed at the Bottom Line Sports for that. But more importantly, make sure you're subscribed at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS. Subscribe at YouTube. Follow on Instagram. For all of my streaming buddies and everybody that tuned in today, thank you. I love you. We out. Holla.
He's with the millions.
It's that world heavyweight flow. Championship belt wrapped around my waist, yo. I got that Ric Flair figure flow. Slam you on the pavement, that's why they call me Street Pro. Create heat on beat flow. Like Jordan after the second time he three-peated, folks. Get ready, set, let's go. Fight toe to toe, release the flow created by this mic pro. Lights, cameras, get low. Action packed, back to back. In fact, this monster will go. Y'all better let him know. Man with the master plan, and you have no need to know. You came prepared, now get ready for the show.